Hi there, everybody. This is Natasha Wilkinson, your fragrance consultant from Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. So, today I am going to do a little bit of a different video. If you have been following along with me for any amount of time, you know I'm very seasonal with my melting. In winter, I like to warm heavy gourmand bakery, minty scents, wintry scents. In summer, I'm all about your fruity, tropical, fresh scents. But then we come to that time of year where the weather's starting to cool down or warm up, depending on whether you're in autumn or spring, and transitioning from one season to the other, where you're not quite ready to change from one season type of fragrance to the other. So I'm not ready for my full-on heavy winter scents. But as I am saying this, I am filming this video a little bit late. I probably will be very soon ready for my winter scents, but I did want to come on and do a transitional video of what type of wax I like to warm during those transitional seasons. And I have broken it down into two different areas. The reason being is, if you are familiar with Scentsy at all, you know in region 1 and 2, they still have a perk in Scentsy Club, Always Get My Bar, where they can still get discontinued wax in their club even after it's discontinued. Here in Australia, they did discontinue that perk, unfortunately, due to costing last year. And we no longer have the Always Get My Bar perk. So we are pretty much reliant on whatever collection drops throughout the year along with our annual catalogue. Saying that though, when they did have that perk, I was a big user of that perk. I also stocked up on some of my favorite fragrances when they came on sale and had to clear out the warehouse of those fragrances. So I do have a bit of a stockpile of some of my favorite transitional fragrances that will last me a little bit. So I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to go through what I would consider to be transitional fragrances that I would probably reach for if I were only reliant on the annual catalogue. So let's get started, shall we? So my transitional fragrances, I will say, may vary a little bit depending on whether I am going from a spring to a winter, or from a winter to a summer, or from a summer to a winter, in the type of fragrances I would warm between those periods. In spring and summer, I am very much fruity, tropical, beachy, fresh, floral. In winter, I am very much your rich, heavy, gourmand bakery. Absolutely love my bakery. If I can throw bakery in anything, you're going to see bakery scents in it. I do also reach for a little bit of the minty instead of the beachy. If I'm looking for fresh, I'll go mint rather than your beach or your watery scents, which I reach for in summer. In winter, and some of those earthy, woodsy scents I also tend to reach for in winter. As I said, but during those in-between months where I'm not quite ready for either of them, I'm looking for fragrances that are going to fit profiles in between months. So these are my favorites here that we're going to talk about. So firstly, the one thing I do find that I do reach for a lot in the in-between months because I am a bakery lover, is just a good basic vanilla scent. And if I'm going usually in between into the summer months, I will normally go Simply Vanilla. Now I've got Simply Vanilla and Vanilla Cream here. The reason I've got both of these here is that they're basically the same scent. If you look up the scent notes, they're exactly the same, just different notes. So if either of these came back in to bring back my bar, this is just a good basic perfumey vanilla that I do like to warm as we're going from usually winter into our spring, summer months. And it's not a bakery vanilla. It does have almost a perfumey body care. Now, I will say though, with Simply Vanilla, I do kind of, for me and my nose, I do have to baby it a little bit, because in the old house, I could hardly get any smell performance of it. In this house, I can smell it if I warm it in smaller areas like the bedroom, but only just smell it as a linger in the air, but it is still a very pretty scent like that. So I will say though, even though Vanilla Cream and Simply Vanilla to my nose are exactly the same and the scent notes are exactly the same, when you read the scent notes with Scentsy, I'll put the scent notes of all these fragrances above here for you. I feel like to my nose, Vanilla Cream comes across maybe a little bit stronger in its performance. Other than that, I find them exactly the same. The other one that I would highly recommend would be Vanilla Amber. So as I said, if I'm heading into a spring, summer period in my transition months, I'm normally reaching for Simply Vanilla. If I'm heading into autumn, winter, like we are now here in Australia, we are actually, winter is next month, I go Vanilla Amber. I find this is a little bit more richer and a little bit more heavier. So I will tend to reach for this more this time of year, and then come transition during spring, I would reach for Simply Vanilla. But I just find that you can't go wrong with just a basic vanilla scent. It's not overly rich. It's not all overly gourmand. These come across a little bit perfumey, and they're just suited for all year round. So I did say floral for me was something that I typically warm more in summer periods and spring periods than I do any other type of year. But there are a few select florals for me that I like to warm as we're transitioning from one season to the other. Generally this time of year, the one I normally reach for is Scarlet Sunflower. And I think what draws me into this as a transitional type of scent is that it's not tropical, it's not heady, white, it's floral, but it's bright, and then it's got the richness with the cranberries in it. And I think it's that richness from a wintry fruit to me that just really rounds this out and adds a little bit of warmth to a bright floral, that when I'm not quite ready to give up my florals, but the other florals are too floral, I find Scarlet Sunflower for me perfect. The other florals I tend to reach for during transition months are lavender florals. So I do have two that I've pulled here. Fuzzy Blanket, again, this is one I would probably because of the honeysuckle in it, is for me a transitional scent in spring as we're coming into summer. It's just a sweet, soft laundry floral with the sweetness of the honeysuckle. And then in winter or this time of year, it's probably Forever Flannel I reach for, as it's a lot more warmer with the laundry. It just feels a little bit more cozier. So again, two different lavenders that I do like to reach for during transition periods. One more so in spring, the other more so in winter. Then we have some fresh scents. So this is the time of year where I'm usually over your aquatic, I'm usually over your beachy scents, your coconutty scents, but I'm not quite ready for those minty scents. So there are two scents that I do reach for this time of year, and again, probably one more during the spring months and one more during the autumn months. So the one I reach more during the spring months, even though it has a wintry name, is Arctic Kiss. And I think it's because it also has a melon in it. So this makes the air feel cool. It's sweet, it's icy, but that melon scent gives it that little bit of bright fruity note at the same time. So I tend to typically put that in my aromas during spring. And then in autumn, along the same lines, I typically go for Polar Bear Hug. So to me, this has almost got a pot puree type vibe to me. It does remind me of going to the botanical gardens with my sister and the big tubs of pot puree that you could sift through and buy as you were leaving the gardens. Now, the scent notes in here would make you think that this was a bakery scent when it's not. It's got scent notes like caramelized brown sugar, blackberry jam. But it's just a beautiful, perfumey, clean, fresh, almost pot puree scent to me. And I absolutely love this scent this time of year. Then we have, going back to the basics, along the same lines with your Vanilla Bakery, Satin Sheets. So this is just sandalwood and vanilla. It's a basic sandalwood and vanilla. The more this cures, the better it gets. So this one still needs curing to my impression. As the vanilla cures in this one, this will turn more of a brown, and it just gets richer and better and performs better to me the more this one cures. But if you're looking for something that's traditional, something that's just basic, you can't go wrong with Satin Sheets. Then we have what I like to call, I guess, my woodsy type scents that I like to warm this time of year. So this one I do as a combination, although they're just as probably good by themselves, but I do like to do these in alternating warmers. So I have popped this combination, I guess, as one, even though they would, to me, work just as well by themselves as a transitional scent outside. And some of you may think this is probably more of a summery one of these, but for me, I'm reaching for it this time of year. That's my preference. So I like to do a combination of Bonfire Beach and Toasted Marshmallow. because for me, I like the smokiness in here, which reads to me warmer, cooler vibe. The Bonfire Beach still gives the sea vibe, but without it being too oceanic. And then you've got that gourmandy smell from both the toasted note in Bonfire Beach and toasted marshmallow. That to me is like you're lighting a campfire to stay warm, but you've still got the sea behind you. It's those cooler days, but not quite warm enough to go tropical. So this gets a bit of a, and you would have seen this in my last empties, I did do this combination because, as I said, transition time is usually where I reach for these two scents. Then we have Enchanted Woods. So I typically reach for this probably both in spring and autumn, actually, because it's got that coconut note in it. It's a tree note. It's got a tree note. I can't remember what the tree note is. Birchwood. I've got the scent notes on the back here. So it's birchwood, amber, and sandalwood. So the birchwood is giving that autumn tree vibe to me, but then the sandalwood and the amber really softens it. And then it's got the creamy coconut, which kind of adds a little bit of a sweetness and makes it not too wintry. I think if it didn't have the creamy coconut, this would be a winter scent for me. But because it's got the creamy coconut, it lightens and creams it out a bit and softens the scent notes, making it perfect for the time of year where I enjoy my transitional scents. Now, the rest we're going to talk about, if you know me, it's going to be my bakery loving scents, because it's not a video with me if we're not talking about some bakery. So, banana nut bread. So this to me, anything that's got a fruit and a bakery together, I think bodes well when it comes to transition time, because it doesn't become overly heavy and it doesn't become overly gourmand. And banana nut bread to me is that perfect mixture of bakery. It's got a little bit of spice, but then it's got that creaminess of the banana, which kind of brings in that warmer, softer, springish element, but then the spices add that warmth. So it works well pretty much for me 9 months out of the year. Another one that I warm probably 9 months out of the year, and I know a lot of people would probably use this more in autumn, winter, but for me, again, I warm this 9 months out of the year, and that's apple butter frosting. And I think it's just a combination of apple and frosting. This is a little bit richer. It is a little bit more gourmandy. I tend to warm this on your rainy days, but I don't find this heavy in the air, even though it is beautiful in winter. But if it's a rainy day but not too cold, I just feel that apple cuts through, adding that little bit of brightness. And while we're on the, I guess you could say, apple train, another one, similar vibes, berry apple shortbread. So this to me, I don't get spice. I can't remember if it does have, I think it did have a little bit. I can't remember though. Whereas apple butter frosting definitely has that spice. This one to me is like it's a brighter apple with the berries. So it's brighter fruity, but then you get that really pastry, buttery note with this as well. Shortbread note with this as well. So one that when this came out as a LTO 2 years ago, I think I went through like 8 bars that period. And that's normally not me. Normally in any given year, I have a lot of wax. So I like to go through a lot of scents, but I was taking this out of the warmer and I was putting this back in the warmer again. That is how much I enjoyed berry apple shortbread. But in any given, I guess, collection during a year, I think the most I'd go through in bars, even my favorites, would be probably 4, considering I do 2 full bars in the open concept area. So normally in a given season, I might choose a fragrance twice and go through 4 bars. But I think I went through, when this came out, as I said, 8 bars. So I actually pretty much once a month, if I were to do how I reach for particular fragrances, when I reach for particular fragrances, I was pretty much reaching for this fragrance at least once a month when it first came out. Then we have Jack's Obsession, which is a cider scent, and you're probably thinking that's a winter scent, that's an autumn scent, it's not a transitional scent. But for me, again, it's another fragrance I can warm 8 to 9 months a year. And I think it's because the apple in this cider note is a green apple. So it has a sharp, bright bite to it from the green apple, as opposed to if it was a red apple, which is a little bit more powderier, a little bit more softer, a little bit sweeter. That sharp bite from the green apple adds a brightness to the simmering spices that I think make this scent the perfect transition scent. And then we've got 2 more we're going to talk about before we delve into the catalogue. As I said, I am very much a fruity bakery scent when it comes to transitioning, or even in summer, if I can add fruit to a bakery to lighten it so it's not so heavily rich and cloying. Saying that though, this is a little bit of a richer scent, and that is Rum Pum Plum. But I normally warm this as we're coming into winter in my autumn months, because you do have the richness of the plum and then you have that beautiful pastry note. So that's just one that I myself personally do enjoy during that time of year. And the last one, Crumb Top. So this is just a basic oatmeal crumb top for me, but it's a brilliant mixer. Grab something very fruity, grab a summery fruity scent, mix it with that, and you can literally create the perfect, I guess, bakery scent for whatever time of year you're after, depending on what other fruity scent you're adding to it. But on its own, it's just a beautiful basic bakery that's not too overly cloyingly, and is going to give you those bakery vibes. So they're the scents that I kind of stocked up on when they were available for me to use, because they're the scents that I'm literally warming this time of year when I'm not quite ready for spring, summer, autumn, winter. Saying that this time of year we're going into our autumn, winter. So I'm not ready for my rich, heavy caramels. I'm not ready for my rich, cloyingly bakery scents. I'm not ready for the deep, earthy, woodsy scents. But I'm over the summer scents. I'm over the tropical. I'm over the floral. I'm over the fresh. So this is what I'm now reaching for this time of year. So as I said, I did stock up on those when they were available for sale. They are scents that are no longer available for sale at the moment, but I still thought it was worth talking about, because if they come back in a Bring Back My Bar, or they come back in another collection, if there's scents that interest you, you kind of get an idea of what other people are thinking about them. Now, we are not quite ready to end this video yet, because I am now going to talk about fragrances that you could use now that are available in the catalogue if you're like me and are looking for some great transitional scents that you want now that you can get from the catalogue. So I'm just going to grab them because they're a little bit too far for me to reach on the end there. So now, I did begin this video talking about your Simply Vanilla and your Vanilla Amber. So they're no longer available, but I did tell you that this time of year I do find a good basic vanilla kind of hits the spot for me. And we do have two good basic vanillas currently in our catalogue, and they are Vanilla Bean Buttercream. So this is basically your buttercream frosting, cane sugar and vanilla extract, which is basically the butter frosting on a cake. So if you're a bakery fan and are wanting to go a little bit richer, a little bit more gourmand, your Vanilla Bean Buttercream for a basic vanilla would be where it's at. If I was shopping from the catalogue, which I do, I buy this quite regularly, it's a great mixer, but if I was shopping from the catalogue looking for that basic vanilla for transitional seasons, this would be the one I'd pick up now going into autumn. The one I'd pick up for your, I guess you could say, spring transition would be Very Vanilla, which is also in the catalogue. So this isn't as gourmand as Vanilla Buttercream. It's a little bit more body care, perfumey vanilla. So if you're wanting something less bakery, less gourmand, I would then go Very Vanilla, which is a little bit more body care. And then, as I said, one of the florals that I do like to warm during transition period are usually lavender type florals. So Jammy Time would be my replacement for what is available all year round in the catalogue. It's got the sweet floral and the soft laundry note that I enjoy in Fuzzy Blanket and Forever Flannel. So if I were reliant on the catalogue only for that type of profile scent, then Jammy Time would be where it would be at. So now headed into your, I guess you could say, fresh, almost laundry scents. The one that gravitated towards me, and it is totally different to Polar Bear Hugs or Arctic Kiss, but I'm not a clothesline fan. I'm not a Clean Breeze fan. I find them a little bit too sharp and astringent to my nose. I like something with a added sweet element to my, I guess you could say, laundry scents. So I've chosen Pink Cotton. And Pink Cotton is berries and vanilla cream, freshly washed blankets, cloud soft spun sugar. So you're still getting that clean, fresh laundry scent, and you're getting the added sweetness of the dark berries. This one for me is one that if I'm looking for a laundry scent, I know in spring, summer, I tend to go for coconut cotton, probably a little bit more, but I personally find pink cotton is a little bit more versatile for all year round. We also do have, where is it? Because I didn't pull it. Because of the coconut note, to me, I think more summer than more transitional. But we also do have in this year's catalogue, and they've changed our fragrances about a bit. So I'm just trying to think what one it was popped into. Wasn't in Cozy. So Jammy Time is now in Cozy. Pink Cotton is now in Fresh. Or maybe they didn't put it in. I thought they did. The from the summer collection last year, I thought we had the, I could be wrong. I'll have to put it up here if I find it, because I can't seem to find what I think I'm looking for, which I thought was in here, which I can't seem. I thought we had a scent that's not in here. So I must have been thinking we had the coconut cotton. No, it wasn't coconut cotton, it was, maybe we only got it in the cleaning. Sun-drenched cotton, I thought we got also in the catalogue as a bar, but we must have only got it in cleaning. So sun-drenched cotton I was going to suggest for wax form, but I don't think we actually got it. I thought we did get sun-drenched cotton here in region 3, but we mustn't have. I think we only got it in the cleaning. So that was my other suggestion. But I did choose pink cotton, as I said, over that, thinking that this was more versatile for all year round, and probably because sun-drenched cotton was only in cleaning, it was not in wax form in here, was probably where my thought process was going. So next, now this isn't really typically, I guess you could say, a scent for me, but I did talk a lot about liking fruity and bakery mixed for transitional type of scents throughout the year. And one that would be very good for a transitional scent is blueberry cheesecake. So this can also be very versatile though, which is why it's probably not one for me. In pods, in forms other than wax, I really enjoy blueberry cheesecake. But I'm one of those people that pick up a bit of a curdled milk note in the wax. Saying that, I haven't revisited the wax in a long time, so I may have to revisit the wax again to see if I still get that, because in other fragrance forms, I really do enjoy blueberry cheesecake. Just in wax, the curdled cheese note kind of gets to me. So I'm wondering if I still pick up that. And I know some people do pick that up in blueberry cheesecake. But if you don't pick that up, this is a perfect transitional bakery scent because it's fruity, but it's a little bit richer with the bakery, but it's not overheaty bakery. Then, if you're still one that likes fruity scents, but you're over the tropical scents, you're over the saturated, zesty, summery, fruity scents, when I'm craving a fruity scent during that transition stage or even in winter, I tend to be always drawn to vanilla blackberry. So vanilla blackberry is tart blackberry jam, warm vanilla extract, and an indulgent pastry filling. I don't remember it having that pastry filling. I don't get a pastry filling with vanilla blackberry, but I just find this a little bit richer than your basic blackberry, raspberry, and vanilla, which is also another very good transition scent. But for me, I don't know. There's something about vanilla blackberry that I like a little bit more. And I think it's because it's a little bit richer, it's a little bit deeper, it's a little bit woodsier. Whereas your black raspberry and vanilla is basically your basic black raspberry and vanilla. So if you're still looking for something along the lines of, I guess, where you just want a basic fragrance note like Satin Sheets, which is your basic sandalwood and vanilla, then black raspberry and vanilla would be where it would be at, which is basically your dark berries and your vanilla. But for me personally, I am drawn a little bit more to vanilla blackberry. And then we have, I guess you could say, those woodsy or bedroomy type scents. So you can't go wrong with Pacific Sandalwood. This is in our catalogue all year round. My son and I fight over Pacific Sandalwood. It is so good. So Pacific Sandalwood is bleached driftwood, sweet earthiness, and fresh lemon peels. So they've changed the description on, and that's not Pacific Sandalwood, that's sea salt water and saffron. So there's a little bit of a typo in our catalogue here. So hang on just a moment and I will be back. Okay, so that's been a bit of a typo in our new catalogue there. They've accidentally put the scent notes for sea salt. They've accidentally put the scent notes under Pacific Sandalwood for sea salt water and saffron, which is next to it. The actual scent notes for Pacific Sandalwood are creamy vanilla cashmere, cozy cotton, and warm Pacific Sandalwood. So I get a little, it's got the beautiful, perfumey, rich, woodsy sandalwood with this one, but the creamy vanilla to me adds almost a caramelly type note, which is absolutely fantastic. I could warm this all year round, but it's just perfect for that transition time of period. As I said, my son and I fight over the bars I have in the home here. That is how good this scent is. Then we have Cozy Cardigan. This is an old favorite of ours in our home too. And again, it is a perfect transition floral scent, even though it's not floral, and a perfect transition laundry scent, even though it's not laundry, because it combines the both of them to make this almost cozy, soft blanket that's a little bit perfumey, as if you've just come home from a night out, you've still got the perfume lingering on your skin, and you've wrapped yourself up in a warm blanket. So, cozy cardigan, I think, would now be in the cozy category. Am I correct? Yes. So cozy cardigan is now in the cozy category, and it is romantic rose petals. I do not get rose petals, but I do get a sweetness and a softness, which I think is coming from the rose petals. Velvety suede and vanilla amber, and that amber is definitely giving that perfumey vibe, and that suede is just giving that cozy laundry feel. And then the last one from the catalogue that I would suggest would be Cocoa Cashmere. So this was originally a scent of the month, and then they did put it into our annual catalogue. Now, if you were a fan of Love Story, you would probably enjoy this, because it does have that chocolatey note to it, but it's not overly chocolatey. It's just adding that layer of velvety softness. So this one is Cashmere Woods, dark cocoa powder, vanilla orchid blooms, and a smooth coconut. So it's a velvety, creamy, woodsy floral to my nose, and it is absolutely beautiful. That cocoa adding that richness, perfect transition scent. So they would be my suggestions for the time of year where you're not ready for your winter scents yet, you're over your summer scents, or vice versa, and you're looking for a little bit of an in-between, I guess, variety to choose from. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, stay safe and bye for now.